But I think one of the things he was asking me a few minutes ago was what's happening now with me. And what we're streaming right now to let you guys know about is we're out looking for some video shots that we're going to try to get done for this video tomorrow that I'm doing with Canton Jones, who is, like, in my opinion, the best gospel singer in the world, best gospel writer in the world, and we got a smash coming your way.
The Film Review Massive, this is Crazy D. Welcome to the Film Review Episode 10, On the Road. That's right, finally we're able to fill in the missing episode. We're already on episode 16 of On the Road, but 10 wasn't ready because what Crazy D was involved in, filming the Las Vegas portion of Canton Jones, So Glad I'm Saved, was not ready yet because the video hadn't been edited in Atlanta by Canton Jones. So now we can show you the making of Canton Jones, So Glad I'm Saved, Brian Tim's portion from Las Vegas, filmed by yours truly, Crazy D. And what makes this episode 10 so great is Brian Timms goes through and gives the history of Dayton, Ohio funk music. That's right. Being that I come from Cleveland, Ohio, I said, well, let me, as we're on the road, film and talk about Dayton, Ohio, where funk came from, the Ohio Players, etc., etc. So sit back and enjoy episode 10, the film review, On the Road. What's going on, people? This is Crazy D. This is the film review, On the Road. What's going on? Facebook Massive. Crazy D here. The film review, On the Road. I'm right here with B.Tims. Say hello, B.Tims.
Nope. Gotta put my sunglasses on.
Oh, he gotta put his sunglasses on first. We are out. We're gonna be scouting some locations for a music video. So we're gonna be out there on the road. So while we're on the road, we might as well let you see what's going on. So again, it's Crazy D, so y'all can chime on in.
Got my sunglasses on.
He got his sunglasses on. Now you can turn that down before they kill the signal. No.
I was getting caught.
They're gonna kill the signal there with that. All right, people. So we are on the road. We're driving. We're gonna be headed out to Lake Mead.
Lake Las Vegas.
No, I'm just gonna say Lake Mead. I'm trying to keep it incognito.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
But anyway, yeah, Lake Las Vegas, people. We're headed out there, and we're gonna be doing our thing, right? And so checking out locations and things. So for all of you who don't know, this person to my left, it'll probably be to your right because all the screens are reversed. This is B.Tims.
And this is all before the music starts. I was even seeing like they put a 2-screen thing up there with a side like we on the phone talking to each other. And then I'm gonna walk to the back of the truck, and the back gate of the truck is gonna go up, and then I'm gonna actually have the talk box in the back of the tailgate. And I'm gonna get my axe out, like you say, man, when can you do it? When can you do it? And I'll be like, man, I'm about to go cut.
All right, man. God bless.
Go to the back of the truck, and that starts the song.
Film review on the road. We are well into the shoot. As you see, that's B.Tims back there. I'm gonna hand it over to my impromptu camera lady right here to do her thing. See, we were out there, we did slow motion. You'll see that in the video. And right now we right there. And the natural camera blowout that they do on the iPhone is the exact same blowout that I did for the shot. He's also a damn good talk box operator.
What's that?
Right, and we're going to ask him what the talk box is. The reverb box, the talk box.
Reverb box. I never heard that name before.
The reverb box. The vocalator.
Oh,
they
my
call
God.
it. Right, the vocalator, right? They used to call it that, right? The vocalator.
Some people call it a vocoder.
Vocoder, okay.
Talk box, voice box. A lot of different names.
Okay, so tell them what a voice box is for the people who don't know.
Actually, the people that call it a voice box calls it a voice box because it does just that. What your voice box does for your voice is provide sounds, and your mouth actually creates and it makes the actual what's the word I'm trying to say? Your mouth forms the word.
The notes.
Right. The voice box that you have that creates a sound is bringing the sound, and when it gets to your lips, then you can pronounce M, but it's actually sound coming from here. But with a talk box, the instrument, you're playing keys on a keyboard, and you have a tube in your mouth, and you don't use your voice box in your throat, but you still.
Okay, wait a minute. First of all, let's back up a little bit because you're getting into the weeds of the technical side, which is good.
Well,
but let's back up. Let people know what the vocalator, the voice box, who created it, and who is most famous for using it first, and then they'll be able to know and name some songs, and then we'll get into the weeds of it.
Well, the first person that I ever saw do it was Stevie Wonder.
Okay.
Stevie Wonder did it back in the 70s on one of those old shows, one of those late night shows. He did it, and it was really, really a great sounding thing, and people were mesmerized by it because they hadn't heard it before. And later in the 70s, a guy by the name of Peter Frampton made it very big with a song called "Do You Feel Like We Do," and he played it on his guitar. But then my mentor, Roger Troutman, came in the late 80s, early 90s. He took it and just took it to a whole nother level. I mean, everyone did it for sound effects and different things like that, but Roger actually did lead vocals with it and led songs with it and just changed the game with it. He was amazing with it. So well that he patented his own type of talk box. And
okay, patented his own kind because they were using it for the Stevie Wonder was using it for the organ, right?
Right.
And then Peter Frampton used it for the guitar,
right?
But then he used it for the keyboard,
right?
And so that's why he made it. So he patented his own because his sound was unique,
right? Exactly.
So when you hear "Do Wah Diddy" or "Computer Love"
or "More Bounce for the Ounce," that's a whole different thing.
And that's that sound.
That's the sound. Yeah.
Okay.
California Love.
So he has this little like a tube in his mouth.
Right.
And he's singing, but he's blowing wind. Is that how that works? Now we can get into the weeds of it.
That's funny. That's because everywhere I go, but I don't know why people ask you that. There's no blowing.
Do it. I love it.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
What time of day did you shoot it? Did you shoot it at 9 a.m. or 3 p.m. in the evening outside?
God graced us, and so we shot it, I would say, starting at 10 a.m.
Okay, 10 a.m.
But it looked like it was about to rain, but it never rained.
Okay.
So it wasn't dark. It wasn't dark. It was just cool.
Okay. So how long did you shoot? You didn't shoot at 12 noon because that's like the heat of the day, and that like
we did shoot at 12 noon, but it still looked like 10 a.m.
Did you have diffusers or silks? Like, did he throw up something to block the sun out?
No, it wasn't no sun.
Okay, no sun. Okay.
See, we
There
got
was no blaring sun.
No
basically.
blaring sun. Okay. And then was it shot 4K or is it shot HD? I just need to know because
it was shot 4K. I just sent the settings to. I just texted them to Brian.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. It's actually all the sound that's coming into your mouth. But I think people ask you that because it looks like a straw.
Right.
You know, when I go in the studio, engineers like, "Are you blowing in that? How you do it?" You know, and it cracks me up because it really sends a vibration into your mouth. So
is it you're pressing on the keys on the keyboard and it's sending like an air pressure into your mouth?
Let me go a little further.
Okay.
The talk box itself is nothing but a horn driver, which is a speaker.
Okay.
So you have if you can imagine, you have a speaker with a tube on it that's instead of the sound dispersing out like that as a speaker, is all the sound is coming through that tube and going into your mouth.
Okay.
So that's why I said.
So earlier, it is a kind of wind.
It's no wind. It's sound.
Just sound.
Yeah. And
you feel pressure though.
You feel rattling different. Yeah, it's a rattling thing because I've had a few feelings come out. But
wait a minute. You've used it
keep that dental insurance. That's all I'm telling you.
All right, listen. I don't own the rights to this music. You know, this is Steve Arrington, but we're on the road. So last time we were talking, we talked about B.Tims' extensive work with Zapp and coming from the home of the funk, Dayton, Ohio. How did you get connected to Zapp? First of all, let's go back. You're from Dayton, Ohio.
Yep.
The home of the funk.
Yep.
Right? Creator of funk. Tell us what Dayton, Ohio was like back in the day with the different garage bands and everything. Tell us what that was like.
Oh wow.
Just break it down like how you tell us those stories. Break it down like how you so they can get the feel of what Dayton, Ohio was like. What year would that be for you?
Man, I got to go all the way back. The furthest I can remember, I think it's like around 72. And because my only reason I remember that, don't think I'm crazy, y'all. The only reason I remember that is because my dad got a 72 Electra 225. And then the man, I thought we had made it when we got that, you know what I mean? But, I mean, riding my bike around town, music was everywhere. Like all the parks during the summertime, you know, and then
First of all, let me say, blessings to you also, Sandra. Thanks for chiming in. Go ahead.
Basically, it's like you hear this great radio station, WDAO was a great radio station that we had in Dayton. And every time they played a Dayton group, they would be like, you know, so-and-so, Dayton's own Slave, Dayton's own Lakeside, Dayton's own Zapp. And it just was something that rung with you. But then you would see these guys in the grocery stores and different places like that. And I knew what I wanted to be right off the bat because they had everything. Man. They had the nice cars and the jewelry and just living the lifestyle, you know. But then going and seeing different people, I took piano lessons, and the Ohio Players bus was parked out.
Okay, so you say that you would go around riding your bike around, and you would see the people in their garages.
In the garage, and they had warehouses. And
now, how soon from the garage bands that you saw that you then started to see them at the garages with the fur coats, diamonds, cars? Now, how long of a stretch was that? Who was the first groups that you saw like that who had come straight from out the garage?
The first group that made it out of Dayton, that put Dayton on the map as a music town, was the Ohio Players.
Okay.
Out of the Ohio Players, there's a horn player named Pee Wee, and Pee Wee's nephew is the leader of Slave.
Okay.
So Slave spawned out of the Ohio Players. There were so many groups that spawned out of the Ohio Players. Shadow was another group, which was a drummer, guitar player, and one of the other members of the Ohio Players. My uncle Satch, he formed a group called Faze-O, which was on his record label. She was the name of his record label. And Faze-O made the song Riding High. You probably remember that song. Big hit for them. There were so many different ways. And then you had so many different groups that looked up to the Players and it sounded like the Players. So out of my city, after those groups started coming out, there was Heat Wave, there was Lakeside, which my cousin is a bass player in Lakeside. I mentioned Slave, Shirley Murdoch, Zapp, Heat Wave, who did I forget? I know I forgot somebody.
What's going on to James Foreman? Thanks for chiming in.
What's
chiming
up,
in
James?
from Cleveland, Ohio.
What's up, James?
So you say your Uncle Satch, who was in the Ohio Players, Faze-O came before the Ohio Players?
No, Faze-O was an extension
of Ohio.
Faze-O was actually a riding squad for the Ohio Players that he said, these guys are good. We got to get them a record deal.
Okay, a riding squad means they were like backup bands?
Yeah, right, exactly. Exactly. They would write, produce music that would, some of the songs became Ohio Players songs that you actually have danced and sung all your life. And so the guys were such great musicians. Satch said, "Hey, let's get them a record deal too." So it was a thing like, man, it was a domino effect in Dayton. I knew you was gonna kill me for that. That's why I went on and said, I'm doing this. This is gonna be stupid at the end. Did I mess it up by doing that?
No, that was good. That was good. They might use that.
Fade to black.
Remember that. Hey, that's on the editor. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad I'm not responsible for editing. Okay, here we go. We're gonna go out here now and get this part.
Some water and some chicken. I heard
it is food time.
I remember when we first moved out here, this heat wouldn't make you sweat. But since they've been building, it's humidity. Anybody who tells you there's no humidity in Las Vegas, they haven't been out here.
There ain't no humidity in Las Vegas.
Last 4 years. This isn't humidity. I don't know what it is.
It's humidity.
Make you sweat. You would be in the sun and it'd be a dry heat. The sun would beat you.
Y'all just see
would
that?
beat down on you, but you wouldn't sweat. But
Y'all
now,
just see that?
what?
What?
Y'all just see that?
What happened?
I put my water down, closed the door, and I was walking to the back of the truck, and Satan himself said, "Hey man, it's hot as hell out here. Can you give me some water too?" Y'all just see it?
I hope not to see that.
Right?
Man, up the heat over my water right now.
Damn. Okay, so now we're gonna do the keyboard lines now. We can do that on all your notes. You gotta turn this way so you can see them too, right?
I played them, didn't I?
Right. I
would not know my notes. Don't you go asking no ridiculous questions. You hear? These is what's wrong with you young deacons that's coming up now.
You're gonna be like,
excuse me,
we're gonna take 15 because he's gonna be like, no, I missed that.
Hey, we about to roll with this, bro. We about to roll with it. Hey, it's hot.
You got that right. This is some wind out here. This is my favorite in the field.
As y'all can see, God himself don't want him wearing that Chicken George hat.
Be tied a little tighter.
Take it again, Lord. Take it again. Do it again.
That's my favorite hat right there.
Won't he do it?
Yeah.
I remember people like Johnny Wilder, who was the lead singer of Heatwave. He was my paper boy. And I remember he left and went to the Navy or Air Force or somewhere. Went to some.
What's his name again?
Johnny Wilder.
He was your paper. He was younger than you?
No, he was older than me.
Okay, he was your paper. Okay, I got you.
All these guys are older than me.
Okay.
I was the young kid.
Okay.
But Johnny left to go to the Air Force. I think it was the Air Force, and he gave his paper out to his brother Keith. He goes overseas and hooks up with some other guys, and they form this band. And then he sends Keith a ticket to come over to Europe, and next thing you know, there's Heatwave
from his brother.
The two Wilder brothers are the lead singers of Heatwave, and they formed in the Soda Bass Projects in Dayton, Ohio.
Soda Bass Projects.
They went to the Army or wherever he went military wise, and next thing you know, they're a famous group. So I think that attributes to Heatwave having a more international sound than most of the Dayton groups. But then you got Lakeside. Lakeside is named after a famous amusement park that I never got to go to. It was destroyed by the time I was old enough to go. But there's a big lake in the middle of the west side of Dayton. The west side of Dayton is where all these groups come from, and they're named after that lake. Slave, I used to sit on my grandmother's back porch and watch them rehearse when they were a rock and roll band. I mean, my grandmother used to call the police on them quite often because their parents went and got these big amplifiers, man, and they would really.
Oh, so the parents was in on it.
Yeah, the parents was in on it. And they would park and put these things in their backyard and practice. And I would sit on the porch as a little boy and just listen to them play. Their favorite song was "Smoke on the Water" by Deep Purple. They turned those things up loud as they could, and my grandmother called the police on them every day.
Every day.
Every day. But later, I ended up being enslaved. So it was a really interesting thing when I told them about how I used to watch them, and they didn't even know who I was. They knew my older cousins because they were older, but I was Little Tims to them. They never would call me Brian. I was Little Tims.
Oh, okay.
they were good friends with my cousin. But yeah, man, Slave, Heatwave, Zapp. How I got into the Zapp organization. I had a bunch of bands around town. I mean, we were emulating the older guys, and this guy Greg Jackson came to me, who was an original member of Zapp. He came to me and said, "Hey man, Roger likes you, and he keeps hearing about what you're doing. You need to come up to the studio." And this is a funny story because they tease me about this to this day. So I go up to the studio and Roger says, "Hey, you're pretty good, man. I've been hearing stuff you're doing, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. I want to teach you music production." And so...
okay, one thing before you finish that story. How do all of these people know music theory? Or is it being taught in the schools? Are people just picking up instruments and picking out the notes? How do they know how to read music? How does this go in Dayton at the time?
Some of the stories that I've heard, man, are... like I said, these guys are older than me, but there was a school called Roosevelt that my uncles went to, and there's a guy that was with the Ohio Players named Junie Morrison, who wrote Funky Worm and all these things. They were telling me, man, that this all started at school. Back in that day, you know, you had music classes, you had different type of things, but everybody had a band. So some of those guys went there. I've talked to Steve Arrington. He was telling me how they were like 15 to 16 years old, and he dragged Mark Adams, started at Roth High School in Dayton, Ohio. They just formed a band and later became Slave. You know, I was actually trying to get Steve Arrington to do some work with a new version of Slave, and he expressed to me, he said, I can't do it because the rhythm section would never be the same as it was when it was those guys, and they had so much history since being, I mean, a lot of people don't know, but members of Slave were only 16 years old when they got the record deal. When the record Slide came out, they were still in school. So it's like, you know, these guys have a tight-knit thing, but they all learned from band classes at school. Then you just had, like I said, the Players came out, and we had a measuring tool. So once you got out of band class, you went home, went in the basement, and you got your chops on. You know what I'm saying? And you did not come out until those chops were where they were supposed to be, because if you did, they'd talk about you.
So from you watching them playing in the garage bands, right?
Yeah.
And seeing what your uncle was doing, right? Then that made you say, I'm going to take theory class, or I'm going to take music class.
Right.
And then what was your instrument of choice at first?
Piano.
You never wanted to do horns?
I came at a different era than they did, and I was coming into that area where music was starting to become electronic. So I knew if I took piano lessons, I could play any instrument in the band, because I was understanding what synthesizers were bringing to the music business at that time. So I could play bass, I could play lead guitar, I could play drums, I could do anything. I could play strings.
So you can play these. You can play those instruments.
No, I said through the use of
I got you. The sound patches.
Yeah, you got to think most of the times these guys back when the Players were coming up, they just had their instruments and they were playing. The synthesizers were slowly coming in, but I was talking to teachers and different people like that, saying, "Hey, man, electronic music is an amazing thing. You can do so many things with it." So, but everything is played by keyboard. Now that we know today that's not true. You can put a synthesizer on a guitar or a horn. You know, I know a guy.
What's going on, Ken Evans? Thanks for chiming in.
I know a guy that plays in a band, and he plays a horn, he plays talk box through his horn, and I still don't know how he does it. But it's a vocoder, his is, but it's just amazing that technology has allowed it to come to that point where you can do that. So
Okay, so from those inspirations, what would you have done if you hadn't have been playing music? If you hadn't had that inspiration, I don't think I would have done anything else. This is what I was made to do. My brothers and sisters, they took piano lessons, and they were always around the house playing piano. And my brother and sister hate me because I got so much poured into me from them that they took piano lessons, and they don't even play anymore. But my sister always says, if you talk to her, my sister like, yeah, he didn't even take piano lessons. He would just listen to stuff on the radio and start playing it. So then I took piano lessons, and that's why I stopped taking piano lessons, because the theory part of it was messing me up as far as playing by ear and having perfect pitch. I started thinking too technical about it. You know what I mean? So, but like I said, my sister, she'll crack you up. It's like she just always says to people, like, you know, he just started playing, and that's because I had them as influences. I had all these people in all these different bands as influences, you know, and I could touch them. I could go touch the Ohio players. I could go touch Faze-O and Slave and all these people. I could actually go up to them, and they were just influencing me. Canton Jones intro.
CJ, what's up, man?
What's up, bro?
What's going on, man? How's everything in the ATL?
Man, you know it. It's good. It's good. How's everything in Vegas, boy?
Man, it's a beautiful life, man. It's a beautiful thing.
Hey, man, I got this record I need you on ASAP, bro. You know, and we shooting a video as we speak, so you know, we got to use technology as much as we can. I need you on this thing. I need you on this thing right now, bro. Talk box, get it to me.
That's what. It's coming at you right. You know what? Hey, CJ, you know me. I'm about to do it right now.
Like right now.
Right now.
All right.
It's going down.
Bet. All right. I'm gonna text you the address.
God bless. One of the biggest things that ever happened in my life was me and my brother used to sneak into concerts at a place called the UD Arena, which was near our house. And we would get on our bikes and ride over there, you know, and just hang out and see who was coming in. But one time I challenged my brother. I said, let's go inside. And we went inside, and man, it was an amazing thing in my life. But my brother and I went up to the top of the arena, and we were sitting there watching them bring all this equipment in and set the stage up and everything. And we laugh about that now, but that was all a part of my journey too, because that's why I learned to do other types of production, you know, as far as stage production, and I learned how to do all that in this one visit. I saw the greatest show on earth that night. Me and my brother got caught in the arena. Security is escorting us out the arena, and Maurice White of Earth, Wind & Fire said into the microphone, leave those kids alone, and told them to bring us up there. They took us on the stage.
Really?
It was amazing, dude. It was amazing. They were rehearsing, and they took us up on the stage. They called our parents. Our parents came over there. We had dinner with them. He took our phone number. We watched the show. It was just an amazing experience, and that was the greatest show I ever saw in my life. They had these pyramids come down out of the sky, and they all got into it. The pyramids went up in the sky and exploded, and there was these aliens standing around while they were doing it, right? And then they took off the alien heads, and they were, and Earth, Wind & Fire was in the alien heads. It was amazing. Just amazing stuff.
What's going on to Miriam Gibson? Thanks for chiming in and watching.
But that changed my life, and then to the fact that my sister was a teenager at that time. I was a young kid, but this dude would call my house and check on me to see how I was doing in my music career.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
now who was this?
Maurice White.
Maurice White.
And my sister would freak out every time he called. Like, and I didn't know. I'm just like, this just
So you see how he called you and it was nothing but innocent.
Yeah.
And how they do the Michael Jackson documentary, and he was calling the kid over there because he could rap, and they made it seem like it was something sinister.
Well, we all know what's going on with that. Man.
Oh, okay. We're not getting into the politics of that. I'm just saying how my mom used to tell me that as long as you knew how to act, if you were 18, then, you know, you could be over my grandma's house.
Right.
You know, it would be all ages partying together.
Right.
As long as you knew how to act.
Right.
You know, and even the young kids that were around, as long as you knew how to act, you could be there.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, but anyway, go ahead with the story. I thought that was interesting.
I just, that changed my life because now I see the garage bands, but then I see the most perfect, excellent band of all time. But they those guys, man, I mean, they took me up on the stage and, you know, Maurice was talking to me. He had his arm around me, and people thought I was his son, man. A couple of guys said, "Oh, I thought you were his son," but I said, "No." So he goes, "What do you do?" And I said, "I'm taking piano lessons right now." And he said, "Go up there with Larry Doug."
Oh,
so I can go into this pit, man. I'm like, what, 8 years old, 9 years old, something like that. I go into this pit, man, of keyboards all the way around this guy, and I'm sitting there looking at him like he's a spider or something because his fingers was long. I mean, man, his fingers were so long, and he was just reaching all over the place playing keyboards, just reaching all over the place. And it bugged me out. But then he said, "Now you play."
And you could hear it through the speakers.
Man, listen, that changed my life forever. I'm in the University of Dayton arena where all the superstars come to play, and this dude lets me play his piano, and I'm like, I played Peanuts, and the whole band played with me.
Really?
They just joined in, dude, and I lost my mind. I said, "I wanna do this."
You said that at 8?
Yeah. I said, they were laughing at me, but so it was later in life after I got to Atlanta and I started producing everybody in Atlanta. I remembered this guy's name, Artie McNow. That was their manager. I started looking up Kalimba Productions and everything, and I called Maurice and got back in contact with him. And at this time, we would talk on the phone like maybe once, twice a month, and he would tell me things about my movements and things that I had made and why I was where I was. But then he started telling me the secrets of Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like, it blew my mind. Like, he was telling me, like, yeah, I was telling him how I was dealing with the church, a mega church down in Atlanta, and I was on staff there and this, that, and the other, and my music is going that direction. He said, "Don't trip." He was like, basically, that's what we were too. And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, we basically had to hide our gospel music message in our songs. And I was like, really? So I mean, you know, keep your head to the sky is an obvious one. Mm-hmm. But he started telling me things like, "Okay, yeah, you remember the song In the Stone?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "It was about the 10 Commandments."
Oh, okay.
You know, so, and he explained to me, he was trying to give me some knowledge that record companies wouldn't let them do that. They wouldn't let them sing that type of music, but they had to hide the message in there. And, you know, the rest is history, you know. But it was just amazing, some of the songs he told me, man, that we would dance to. Of course, Mighty Mighty, you can tell that has gospel influence. But when he told me In the Stone was about the 10 Commandments, it just really messed me up. But it's really cool stuff, man, that you can, you know, I've been blessed, I'm going to tell you. And I just told somebody this the other day while we were in L.A. I've been blessed to be able to be around some of the greatest people in the music business. And, I mean, no holds barred. I can touch them. You know what I mean? Some of the greatest influences in the world, man. Junie Morrison, who I look at one of the greatest musicians that ever come out of Dayton, Ohio, is just a great influence on me. Roger Troutman, great influence on me. Roger taught me everything I know about doing music production. So, you know, these guys I've been blessed enough to meet, but then on a whole other level, you got a Earth, Wind, and Fire and all these other groups as well, that are national groups that I've met as well. And it's just been a blessing. So
okay, so now you got that formative training you listened to your sisters and your brothers, and then you picked up. Then you took theory. Then you said I stopped. But at the same time, when you were 8, you got to see Earth, Wind, and Fire, and they brought you up on stage because you and your brother had snuck in to the venue, and we know all about that, people.
I'm not sneaking into either.
Because these days it might not go so well. But anyway, look. So you do all that. So now we flash forward. You've seen all the garage bands and turn into Ohio Players, Faze-O, all of the. You talked about Heat Wave and how he was your paper route boy, the paper boy. Then he goes over, turns the route over to his brother. Then he calls his brother when he goes over to Europe because he was in the army or in the armed forces. And then they make Heat Wave over there, and they bring this international sound back to Dayton. Now, so you meet up with Roger. You guys were like emulating the older guy's sound, and your keyboard playing. Were you playing the vocalizer then, or were you just playing keyboard?
No, but again, as a kid, they would have like the Dayton Funk Festival things and different things with all those bands that were from Dayton, and everybody went on stage. But when Roger went on stage, and I told him this when I met him, and he died laughing. When Roger went on stage, it was like electricity was turned on. It was like, man. And I told my brother, and my brother would take me to these concerts. He was older than me. But I told my brother, I said, I want to do that. And my destiny for me saying that was I ended up doing it.
So words, so what comes out your mouth does manifest.
I spoke it into existence, and I told Roger that and he laughed, but I didn't tell y'all the story. I didn't finish telling y'all the story about meeting him.
Right.
When the gentleman told me, and this is what I get teased about a lot from all the members of Zapp. He takes me up to the studio. Roger says, cool, I'm going to teach you how to do this, but I need to talk to your parents first. So he calls my mom, and my mom and dad are at the house, and he says, hey, Miss Tims, blah, 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 I'm Roger Troutman, blah, blah, blah. And my mother's a school teacher. She's not into entertainment and nothing like that. And this is the funniest thing that ever happened. He goes, I want to teach your son music production. He's a great musician. He has great abilities to put great bands together. He knows, who has good pitch, who has this. He can put that together. But I want to teach him music production in the studio and show him how to put music together where he can do a whole song inside of his head and then put it on tape. Transfer that to a record. And my mom said, well, Mr. Troutman, with all respect due to you, I don't want him to get into the music business. Now, here's my mom saying this, the lady that forced me to take piano lessons before. I had to do my piano lesson before I could go outside and play when I came home from school. She taught my brother and sisters the same. We all had the same piano teacher. She has this big, gigantic piano in the middle of our living room. My dad went and bought me, at 14 years old, a Fender Rhodes electric piano, which was a top of the line. And now I'm with probably the hottest dude in Dayton, Ohio at the time, Roger Troutman. And my mom, this is my mom's response. All due respect, I don't want him to really get into the music business. I want him to do something and just be normal, like a doctor or a lawyer. And so, if I had a camera on my phone, which we didn't have at that time, to take a picture of Roger's face, oh my God! And his response was, "Oh, Miss Tims, I'm not normal." So anytime Zapp is around the city anywhere, anytime they come around, or I see them on the road, or I walk in their dressing room, they go, "Oh God, here comes a normal boy." That is an inside joke.
It's an inside joke, right? To be there, yeah.
But it's amazing, man. Just working with him. I'm in high school, and the first song I worked on was "Computer Love." I mean, I remember taking tapes home. He would get in my mom's car, and we'd go drive around listening to what we had just recorded. And he would leave tapes in the car, and I'd be like, "Dang, he left Computer Love. I gotta go show." And I'm letting my family hear, what we're doing. And I just remember it was exciting, man. It was like, you gotta think now.
So what made her relent?
My dad.
Oh, he was listening too.
My dad was like, "Let the boy do what he doing. Let him do what he doing." But a song like "Computer Love" hadn't been recorded before, and I didn't know anything about the business of music the way I do now then, but I knew that song was going to be a big hit. I knew it was. You know, I just knew it was going to go over like it has. And man, it was just proud. I was just so proud to be a part of it. Look, check this out. This is amazing. Move your elbow. Don't put your camera down here because it's junky in here. But I just want to show them something. This right here. That is an original practice tape from Troutman Sound Labs in Dayton, Ohio. This is what we would do. We would get in the car and put these tapes in and just listen to what we rehearsed, what we went over on, or whatever we was recording. We sometimes drive down to Cincinnati, me and Roger, just by ourselves, and we just listen to music all the way. Sometimes we drive over to Indianapolis, just listen to music. But that's an original cassette tape. If you look at that side right there, it says LL Cool J in handwriting. That's Roger's handwriting. He wanted me to put LL Cool J's whole album on here just so we could ride and study it. That's what kind of dude he was. He wasn't afraid of hip hop. He wasn't afraid of anything, but he wanted to know what was going on.
You gonna get some gas?
Yeah, I'm gonna get some gas. We're gonna come back and finish.
No, we're gonna keep going. I mean, I just keep streaming.
We're gonna keep going?
We're gonna keep going. I'm
just
gonna
keep going.
Yeah, it's on the road.
They don't want to see all that, man.
We on the road. We're not gonna go in there. I can't go inside the place, but I can be out here talking, chopping it up, and then when you come out, pump the gas, you know, regular stuff. Now I'm gonna get out the car. I'm gonna stretch my legs. We've been driving for about, how long has it been? About an hour?
Oh, yeah, we out here in the middle of no man's land.
About no man's
land. We're out in the desert.
Trying to figure out, because we're scouting locations for a music video. So we are on the road, people. Doing our thing. We are outside in the sunshine. So we are sitting in another part of paradise. So we're out here on the patio, and as you see the mountains and the skyline and the water. Nice lounge chairs going on here. But yeah, this is nice. Tell them where we are.
We're in Lake Las Vegas. We're most of the Lake Las Vegas thing that most people usually see are over there where the little shopping center and everything is, and the hotel over the water is over this way. But we're in the residential section of Lake Las Vegas. If you look right up here to the north, you'll see there's a lot more new stuff coming up. They're building out here. Just on the other side of that hill there, there's like housing going up. It's rapidly expanding up here.
And we can honestly say that if you have the price point, you have the money for the price point, you can live out here too.
No, that's not true.
That's not true?
I don't have the money for the price point.
I was trying to dispel the rumors of segregation out here, okay? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. You know I'm a little slow, man. Come on, dude. I just turned 52 last week.
Oh, look at that shot right there, people. See that?
Actually, I'm going to show y'all something. Come here. I'm going to show y'all something. Anytime President Obama visits Las Vegas, he stays right there. This is the hotel he stays at.
Oh, should we be showing that?
Right across the street. Yeah, this is. I mean, everybody knows it. You can't get to it, and that's why they do it. That's why he stays here, because it's the water behind it. There's no way you can, infiltrate it. But this is where he stays. Right here.
So you're watching the film review on the road. I'm Crazy D. I'm your host. We have the film review, music review show. All of that is global. You can just search that right on YouTube or Vimeo on your ISO devices. You just search it and it comes right down, and you can watch everything right in your city, state, township, country. And that's what we do. And we got you right here. This is one of our longest expansions right here, telling this story. We're here along with B.Tims right here.
I think one of the things he was asking me a few minutes ago was what's happening now with me. And what we're streaming right now to let you guys know about is we're out looking for some video shots that we're going to try to get done for this video tomorrow that I'm doing with Canton Jones, who is like, in my opinion, the best gospel singer in the world, best gospel writer in the world, and we got a smash coming your way. We got we got something for the seniors, the people that, you know, the seasoned people. We got something for the young people, and then I'm gonna bring the future with it. So it's gonna be a nice song, man. I'm gonna try to come back and let y'all get a little snippet of it, but you know, it's all right. It's gonna be good. But this video shoot, we gonna get y'all some more.
And yours truly is doing what?
My man right here, Crazy D. Let me tell y'all something. If you're doing video stuff and you don't call my man Crazy D, this is where I'm gonna forget I'm saved for about 15 minutes and go upside your head. Rufus, that's for you, Rufus. But no, we gonna really do it. This guy, man, out here in Vegas, ain't nobody doing it like him. He's all over the place. I mean, when we were doing Bomb Squad Radio, he was all over the place. I mean, we would go somewhere, we go to a concert and do some things. He had his stuff up on YouTube that night. So that's how he does it. This is the most serious man, most hardest man in the video business right here, hardest working man right here, Crazy D. So make sure you call him. So basically, we're going to be out here looking for some shots for this King Jones video. The song is called So Glad I'm Saved. It's awesome. It starts off with the talk box. I start the song off. And, you know, Canton is just known for his grooves, man. He has I don't know. Me and Canton started working together when I was in Atlanta back in '94. And I was on his first album. And it went really good, man. We just established, we bonded this relationship together that, you know, man, let's keep doing it. But unfortunately, I was at a 30,000 member church on the other side of town, and he was on a 30,000 member church on the west side of town. And both churches had TV studios, music studios, and all types of things in there. And we had fun. It was like we were little kids running back and forth to each other's church, recording together. But he then signed with the record label that his church had, and they took more direction of what he was doing. So that's why the things that we recorded, the things we were doing, a lot of them didn't come out. But me and him were just talking yesterday, and he said, let's do it 3-song EP after we get this song out. So be on the lookout for more from, you know, he and myself. I love working with him. He loves working with me. I just called him today, and I was telling him, man, I don't know if I'm gonna get this video shot done out here in Vegas. Just go ahead and release the video. No, I gotta have you on. I gotta have you. And that just, you know, that's love, man. This is why I miss Atlanta so much, because I got brothers like that down there that, like, they love you. You know, they love you unconditionally. They look out for you, and it's like you got extended family. You know what I mean? So I'm really excited about this project. I think it's going to be a really big one. Like I said, Doug Williams is on it from the Williams brothers. Myself and Canton Jones is going to really do good, I think. So
Tell them who you are again. New people are chiming in, so.
My name is Brian Tims.
So that's it. You've been watching the film review On the Road. We'll be back a little bit later with some more as we scout out some locations and get this video underway. All right, talk to you.
For me?
Playing, like you're playing, and then I'll be able to get the skyline in the back with the mountains and the snow. Did you know, people, it's 100 degrees right now, but when you turn around and look at the mountain, you see that the mountain still has snow.
Where is it at? Oh.
So James Brown, George Clinton, P-Funk, Funkadelic, and Dayton Funk. Difference.
The differences are very small. For the simple fact, James Brown, like I told you earlier, he got Boosie in the band. Now Boosie
James Brown did teach the one, though.
That's where I'm getting to.
Okay.
Boosie was able to mess with James Brown long enough to get the chemistry of James Brown funk. He took that and taught it to George Clinton. George Clinton, if you hear George Clinton on the record, on the one. So he's got James Brown infused in P-Funk. Also from P-Funk, what comes is a guy named Junie Morrison from Dayton that was the original lead singer of the Ohio Players. He did Funky Worm, he did Pain, he did all those great records. You hear his voice to this day on Humpty Hump. That did I do it, baby? That's his voice.
Mm-hmm.
They sampled it. Now let me tell you, Junie is the funk overlordian. I sat in the studio with George Clinton, and he told me that Junie came, and he's another one that asked me, what do they feed us in Dayton? He told me that Junie came to the studio, sat down, and now keep in mind, for George Clinton, he wrote Aqua Boogie, he wrote Knee Deep, he wrote One Nation Under a Groove. This is all one man that plays every instrument. So he said, Brian, man, he said, this guy was unbelievable when he came to P-Funk. He bought something from Dayton, Ohio that I didn't know. He said, me and Boosie used to study Dayton, Ohio. We used to study the players and try to figure out what they were doing, what their next moves were. I've heard that from many of people. Of course, Larry Blackman from Cameo says the Fire album comes out and they all went, he made the whole band go to the Poconos to study it. So this music is very influential that comes out the hometown. George Clinton is telling me that he comes into the studio, he sits down, and George says, hey, I want to go on the groove, like blah, blah, blah. He said he left the studio, came back in 2 hours, and the whole song, Knee Deep, was done. The entire song.
The changes, everything.
The drums, the guitars, the horns,
the bridge.
Everything was done, okay? He says the whole P-Funk mob, all his musicians was mad at him because he just let this guy come in and take over. But throughout that session, he did the whole album. The entire album. And George said, I had to beg him to let Michael Hampton play the guitar solo on that song. But he played everything that he had already laid on the track, note for note. He wouldn't let him change it. He said, you got to play exactly what I played, or I'm not going to put it on there. And he did it. So this is, if you ask yourself the original question, what's the difference between those three types of funk? It's no difference, because they're all the same people.
What about Gap Band funk?
Gap Band funk is a little bit different, you know.
But they used it. Did they come from Parliament, or did that come from? Did that come from Dayton, or did that come from
back in that
Parliament?
time? Back in that time, it was okay to borrow from each other. People would borrow a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a great example of that is the Gap Band, "Burn Rubber on Me" and "Bad Mama Jamma." Same two songs, 8 bars of it is not the same. It's the first 4 bars, they did the same bass line, and then Carl Carlton changed it just at the end. And it was not uncommon for that to happen. It wasn't uncommon for it to happen at all. It just did. But it just made a lot of similarities in the music, made a lot of people, you know, feel like, hey, excuse me one second, I'm backing up, I need to see where I'm going so I don't smash up nothing. Made it look like, hey, this is a great thing, it's a great song, it's already a hit, so let's make it a hit again. You know, that's how they
well, that's what Von Mason said. He said Bounce Rock Skate is the opening to Chic's Good Time.
Mm-hmm.
Bounce Skate,
the same bass line almost.
Roll bounce. So last time while we were talking, we talked about B.Tims' extensive work with Zapp, and coming from the home of the funk, Dayton, Ohio. You know, we talked about that. So let's talk about how being in the quote-unquote secular versus gospel world, how that intersects as a musician.
I knew this question was coming. You know what though? I had a very progressive pastor. I'm gonna tell you how I got all twisted up in all this. I went to a church to see Kirk Franklin one night in Atlanta, and the church, I was on the road with Bobby Brown at the time, and the church was basically, I'm looking at this church like, man, they got the same equipment and stuff that we use on the road professionally, and I wasn't used to that. So it was like, you know, I said, I'm gonna check this place out. So how about I went back that next Sunday? It was on a Wednesday night, I think. It was like 5,000 people in this church. You know what I mean? And I went back that next Wednesday, and same thing. They had the same equipment, same stuff up there, very professionally done. And I said, I can do this. I like this. Not knowing that it was a reason for 5,000 people being there on a Wednesday night because they had a great pastor. And I ended up, long story short, becoming a staff member of that church. And I was playing talkbox on different stuff. Actually, the pastor did an album, and I did talkbox on that album. And it was really crazy because sitting with him and him knowing my background and knowing where I come from and knowing what I did, he told me, don't stop. He said, that's your gift. He said, be a light in a dark place. And after he told me that, I did a session with Outkast, maybe like a month or two after he told me that. And this is what happened. I would go into sessions all the time with Outkast, and a lot of weed would be smoked and a lot of stuff would be going on in there, you know. So I came in this one particular day, and this dude held a joint out to hand it to me. And Andre 3000 was like, yo, man, he don't do that. He said, matter of fact, everybody put it out. Because when he come in, y'all make sure y'all respect his faith. You know, he don't get out like that. And I looked at Andre like, what the heck happened to you? You know, you fall and bump your head. But sure enough, right after he left, right after everybody cleared out, you know, and it was him and I and the engineer in the studio alone, he said, yeah, man, I had to stick up for you. You know, my mom's a preacher. Mm-hmm. So you know what I mean? It was he knew and had that rooted inside of him. But like my pastor was saying, when you go be a light in a dark place, you can pull other people to what they really want to be. You know what I'm saying? They feel comfortable because they see a lot of that stuff going on. There's 5 or 6 guys doing it, but they feel like they might be the underdog. You know, like I was the underdog, but I've been in so many bands, all the way from high school, man, and you know, everybody smoked. I've never tried it, never felt interested to do it, and I didn't feel like peer pressure could ever be a thing that could make me do that. So, you know, it is what it is. I mean, if you do it, you do it. If I don't, you know, and that's what I just really like.
So as a young kid, young child coming up and liking the funk music, right? And you were going to church. Were your parents church affiliated?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
So let's go back there. Was there, once they started seeing that you wanted to play secular music, was there something in Dayton where the church was like, you're going to wind up like Sam Cooke if you do the secular music? Stick to the gospel, son.
Well, check this out. The church I grew up in, I could see that happening, but the church I went to in Atlanta,
but how did you break away from that? Because I know that was happening. Was that happening or it wasn't happening?
It was happening, and it was happening inside of my mind. But I was in jail. I was in jail in my own mind because that ain't what God wanted. You see what I'm saying? It's like what He showed me that church for, what He sent me there for by accident was to show me that I gave you the gift. Now, if you put your gift out there and man distorts that, that's on him. But I gave you the gift to do what you do. If you do it, you do it, and you do it honoring me. And that's what I do. Anytime I turn my talk box on, that's praise unto God. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's just how it is.
Remix says, us folks from Canton, Ohio, we don't have to smoke. We already crazy without it.
We know this. We know this. You ain't never lied. We know this, for real.
That's what I like about people from LA and Ohio and California. We had the same sensibilities.
Yeah.
The music is alike. Oh, the music is based on the funk. Right?
LA music is too, right? Remix?
Right.
He know.
I don't smoke either and never wanted to, Remix says. Oh, I'm getting a Starburst.
I didn't answer your question though. The question you asked me was, you know, does it cause a problem? And yeah, it does to a person that don't know who they are. You know, I can walk into a reefer smoke room and not lose my religion.
Ryan, do you think I praise God when I'm on them tables? Remix, I can answer that question for you. Someone who has filmed you Do your thing.
Like 5 minutes. I don't even know if he's
It's a gift, like you said. It's gifts. Believe me. Yes, you do. Brian. Remix said, "Do you think I praise God when I'm on them tables?"
Yes, and that's my point. What you're doing as a DJ, see where we lose focus is that we were designed to praise. That's what we were made for. We wasn't made for nothing else to praise God. And everything that I do in my life, I'm driving this car, I'm praising God while I'm driving it. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I look at life. And if you don't look at it like that, that's where complications start to come in and people can get in your head and sway you from what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah, they told me, hey, you ain't got no business playing in no club. You ain't got no business. But you know what? The guys that were in those bands with me right now to this day, they can reflect back and say, man, you know what? You never tried no drugs. You never did nothing. You know, and that's a testament to them. It's just the way I live, though. But that's the way I'm supposed to be living. You know what I mean? The question that you asked me earlier to start this whole conversation off, though, was it wasn't a problem with church people. And when I got to the church in Atlanta, no, it wasn't a problem, because my understanding then was that what I learned in the world, I was supposed to bring back to the kingdom and show professionalism. Because I see so many churches that operate, you know, on a lower budget. Even in the record business, they'll give the Commodores $600,000 to do a record and give a gospel artist $5,000. You can't make a record on that. You know what I mean? So it's been that way for years, but now with the resurgence of like people like Kirk Franklin and people that have taken gospel mainstream, now gospel artists are getting those budgets too. So it's no difference. You know, so that's what we were striving for a long time. When we started Holy Hip Hop in Atlanta, it was a crazy thing. But look at people like Lecrae now. You know, it's a whole different ball game. So it works, and it's a good thing.
So glad I'm saved. So glad I'm saved.
How many people happy that they say tonight, yeah? How many people happy that they live and ride, yeah? So glad I'm saved. How many people happy that they say tonight, yeah? So glad I'm saved. Since I've been saved, I've been brave. I be looking these devils right in their face. It don't matter what they do, see, I'm not phased. I just summon God cause he inhabits all the praise. I was searching for love, what a love that I found. Jesus saved me like I was going out of bounds. Now I am telling my friends, kins, and people in sin, God is the reason I win, and I don't follow the trends. I'm so glad. Once I was blind, so glad I'm saved. But now I see, so glad I'm saved. Cause Jesus Christ, so glad I'm saved, came and rescued me. So glad I'm saved. I was searching for love, so glad I'm saved, in every wrong place. So glad I'm saved. I surrendered to God, so glad I'm saved. And now I'm saved by grace. So glad I'm saved. I'm so glad, yeah. If you glad you saved, let me hear you sing this loud. Everybody now, yeah. I'm so glad,
I'm saved.
Uncle Doug Williams, tell him about it, man. Yeah. Woo.
There was a time when I was not.
Yeah.
I was one of the have-nots, doing things my own way. There was a price I had to pay. Then one Friday night, I decided to make it right. Gave my heart and soul to Christ. Now I'm living this blessed life. So glad, so glad I'm saved.
Yes, sir.
I'm saved.
Yes, sir. Now I'm making people happy that you saved. Hey,
so glad. Well, so glad I'm saved.
Once upon a time I was living for the devil. Now I'm on a whole nother level. Because I'm saved.
So glad I'm saved.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm saved. So glad I'm saved. It's a brand new day. So glad I'm saved. Come what may. So glad I'm saved. I won't turn around. So glad I'm saved. Cause I'm heaven bound. So glad I'm saved. Joy unspeakable. So glad I'm saved. Thought it was unachievable. So
My Savior brought me out of darkness to light. Through struggle and strife, He taught me how to conquer this fight. The battles of life, don't let them take a toll on your soul. This home on earth is temporary, so make heaven your goal. See all the things I used to do, I don't do no more. The people that I thought I knew, I don't know no more. Times change, better or worse, that's just how things go. The evolution of my life is a story of growth. That's why I'm that right.
Yeah. Thank you, Jesus, for paying the price for me and willing to fight for me. Used to be blind, but I can see, Lord,
so glad I'm saved.
Okay, stop moving. That is like, I mean, that's got to be so.
I like commercials, man.
old. I mean, that's got to be like
Very old.
I mean, like that's like before any of the new generation. Like that's before anybody's time. Like that's like it spreads better than Blue Bonnet on it. I mean, like that is really just. I don't even remember that whole thing.
I was going to do that one.
Okay. All right.